open it up for questions. DM, over to you.
No, thanks, Mahlatsi. I'll read the media advisory that we have issued, because we assume that not all of you have the copy, and particularly the viewers at home. And it reads as follows, and thereafter will be under the dictatorship of Mahlatsi on how we take the conversation forward. So the statement reads as follows. The fourth meeting of the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors, chaired jointly by myself and the governor of the South African Reserve Bank, Lisicha Kganyago, took place on 15 and 16 October 2025 on the sidelines of the IMF and the World Bank annual meetings here in Washington, D.C. This was the final finance ministers and central bank governors meeting of the South African G20 presidency. As a key legacy of South Africa's presidency, ministers and central bank governors agreed to launch the G20 Africa Engagement Framework. This framework strives to ensure consistent engagement by the G20 with key impediments to growth and development in Africa for the next 5 years. It complements existing G20 initiatives, such as the Compact with Africa. Ministers also signed up to the first ever G20 Ministerial Declaration on Debt Sustainability, which signals the intent of the G20 to do more to tackle unsustainable levels of debt along the rising cost of capital, particularly for African countries. The meeting delivered constructive discussions on the global economic outlook, the macroeconomic stability, the international financial architecture, and financial sector issues. The meeting also received an update on the work of the Africa Expert Panel. Further details on the discussions are recorded in the chair summary of the meeting, which is now available on the G20 website. The chair's summary also contains a list of deliverables achieved under the South African G20 presidency within the finance track. Amid rising geopolitical tensions and fragmentation, South Africa prioritized global cooperation and development with a special focus on Africa. Our presidency theme, solidarity, equality, and sustainability, reflected the current global context and the priorities of the previous 3 developing country presidency, that is Brazil, India, and Indonesia, which focused on issues critical to the global south. We have emphasized the need for global policy responses that reflect the lived realities of emerging markets and developing economies, including low growth, constrained fiscal space, rising debt service costs, and limited access to long-term affordable capital. Our focus on Africa permeated the finance track, where significant progress has been achieved, advancing the multilateral development bank roadmap to make them bigger, better, and more effective for developing countries. Members also adopted the G20 Declaration on debt that aims to improve debt sustainability and commit to engage with borrower countries while enhancing their agency. Work with the Global Sovereign Debt Roundtable provided additional technical inputs and further strengthen Africa's voice. For South Africa and other developing countries, the developmental commitments made during the first cycle of developing countries' presidencies must be carried forward beyond 2026, ensuring the G20 remains relevant and effective in a divided world. The South African presidency has also advanced discussions on artificial intelligence, examining it from both a regulatory and a macroeconomic perspective to understand productivity and growth implications of harnessing technology and AI. There's broad agreement that further work needs to be done. Our financial sector discussions highlighted both the transformative potential and the risks associated with innovation and AI. Cross-border payments was a key priority this year, and we have collectively reaffirmed our commitment to effective implementation of the G20 roadmap for enhancing cross-border payments, as well as appropriate further actions as necessary to deliver the roadmap's targets. Indeed, we are slowly making progress towards the quest for cheaper, faster, more transparent and inclusive payments, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa. Over the year, members advanced several other areas of imported work across a number of groups and work streams, which will improve global economic cooperation. This included advances in financial inclusion, moving consumers from access to usage of financial products, continued progress in sustainable financing, and multi-year sustainable finance roadmap tools for expanding quality infrastructure investment, including cross-border infrastructure toolkit and the related Ubuntu initiative. There was productive engagement on coordination between finance and health ministries and continued coordination on international taxation. Finally, members welcomed a review of G20 finance track processes conducted by the South African presidency, ensuring that the G20 finance track remains the premier forum for the global economic cooperation. The G20 continues to play an important role in fostering stability, inclusion, and sustainability in the international system. We are confident that the work carried forward from this presidency will strengthen our shared efforts to build a more equitable, resilient, and prosperous global economy. South Africa will host the G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg in November, and we're looking forward to seeing many of you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. We will now open it up for questions. For those in the room, if you could put your hands up, a roaming mic will come to you. And then please just state your name and your designation as well. The journalists that are online, they can use the chat function, and I will